Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Pop Culture Talk here at Great Stories, hosted by yours truly, Chris Mills. Tyler Hamrill in the middle. This is his first time in the middle, although this is really only the second time we've done three people.
Yeah.
Second video, right? Yeah.
I've been in the middle before.
The first time on camera in the middle?
Yeah. I just haven't. I've been between people before.
This could go someplace not so nice. Anyway, and then we have at the end
maybe
of
on
the table
camera
there,
too.
Ken Lee from the Crank File. So we are going to be talking a little bit about stuff that's already happened in, I don't know, on Netflix and stuff that's coming up in movie theaters.
Yes.
And maybe something else, which we haven't really discussed, but maybe we'll just kind of free will it a little bit here. I mean, you are in the middle after all, so you're kind of the captain of the ship.
I am
So
the captain now.
he is the captain.
Help myself.
So with no further ado,
Yes.
let's talk Jessica Jones. Who saw it?
I'm almost done with
Okay,
it.
so
I'm almost done with
I
it.
have a funny story about Jessica Jones.
Okay.
And I actually really can't talk about season 2. So I'm going to be totally honest. I never got through season 1. And I've literally tried to watch Jessica Jones season 1 probably like 2 or 3 times. And every case I've gotten like 3 episodes in, and for a reason it just couldn't keep me.
Mm-hmm.
So just recently, I knew that we were going to be talking about Jessica Jones on
Yep.
this episode, so I figured I would get started on season 2. I didn't think that me not watching season 1 was really going to affect my enjoyment of season 2. So I started watching it, and I got about 3 episodes in, and again, it's starting to lose me. So around 4th episode, I turned it off, and the next day at work, I was talking to one of the guys who watches a lot of these superhero shows.
Yeah.
And I was telling him how I couldn't get through it. And he's like, well, how far did you get? So I was explaining to him where I got. And he looks at me and says, I'm pretty sure that was season 1. And sure enough, I went back and checked Netflix. And I had watched season 1. I attempted to watch season 1 again for the 4th time mistakenly. And I couldn't get through it.
Okay. Well,
So for me,
I'd like to say A for effort.
no, it was I failed.
You've seen the first 3 episodes of season 1 4 times each. That's 12 episodes. That's basically a whole
Basically a season,
Yeah.
but I haven't gotten anything out of it.
Yep.
I don't know what it is about this, about Jessica Jones, that hasn't held my attention the way that Daredevil did, or like Luke Cage or the Punisher did. I think some of it has to do with Kristen Ritter's character. I think she's a fantastic actress. I loved her in Breaking Bad.
Yep.
But that kind of just the blasé character, the kind of rough attitude.
She's like the washout.
Yeah, she just she's not very fun to watch. It's kind of
She's
a downer.
morose.
It's kind of a downer.
She's morose, for sure.
And for someone that's supposed to be one of the strongest, most powerful superheroes, I just cannot stand the action sequences. I find them. It's just I've never been so aware that I'm watching a choreographed fight scene, as when I'm watching Jessica Jones fighting these people. It just doesn't do anything for me.
All right.
So maybe they should have gotten Gina Carano or something like that for.
Someone who could kick ass.
Actually.
Yeah, who could
Yeah.
literally kick ass.
Interesting. Well, I will say, out of all the Netflix Marvel series, for me, the Jessica Jones, both season 1 and season 2, were probably the most uneven in terms of my enjoyment. I felt, one episode, and this, like I said, applies to both seasons.
Yep.
One episode would be really up here in my enjoyment level, and then the next one kind of they lost it for me,
Yeah.
So very up and down the whole season, but of course I'm a continuity guy. I need to watch everything, and so I stuck it out. And honestly, I had fun with season 2. I thought it was great character development for some of the established characters from season 1. We have her friend, the name escapes me, Rachel.
Trish?
Trish, thank you.
Close.
Why am I thinking Rachel? I don't. Anyway, yeah. So Trish, Trish is kind of making her own way, and she goes a little vigilante
Yep.
in this season, and now the means through which she's able to go vigilante is a little bit questionable.
Right.
She's kind of living on the edge, I think.
How did she
You
get
know,
powers?
Yeah, she uses inhaler. Oh, that's right. You have me.
Ah,
Did you
Someone's
see?
got to explain this to me.
Did you see the part where?
Was it in Jessica Jones?
In Jessica Jones?
Probably not.
Season 1. In season 1, she saves a police officer.
Yes. Okay, I saw. I did see that. Right.
That police officer becomes a bigger character throughout the season, and he essentially does his best to try and help Jessica Jones. It turns out he used to be a part of a secret program that utilized enhancers
Uh-huh.
in order to make them stronger. So he is kind of still hooked up on this, and he, of course, creates both opportunities and issues for Jess throughout the first season. Well, he makes a reappearance in the beginning of the second season. He makes it about that far, and then his enhancing mist that comes in an inhaler
Drugs.
gets passed on to Trish through accidental means, and she decides to take it, knowing what it is, so that she can try to help Jessica.
Yep.
And then, just like Trish has a history of drug control problems in her past, being a young star, grew up in the limelight, and so it's no different with this. Except now she's got powers.
one thing that's incredibly clear about every single one of the characters, the main characters from all the Netflix Marvel series, is that every person, no matter if they're protagonist or antagonist, is incredibly flawed.
True.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody's battling something. Everybody's got a hang up of some kind, their own personal demons. It's actually, it's makes the characters more relatable, which I think kind of adds to the enjoyment of the of watching it.
I think specifically within Jessica Jones itself, a lot of the quote-unquote villains seem to be, like, you really can see their side of everything, especially coming towards the end of the second season.
Chris looks skeptical.
So I would agree with you if we're talking season 2. This is going to be one of the things that I wanted to talk about with Jessica Jones season 2 versus season 1. To me, the Purple Man, David Tennant's character in season 1, is out and out just an evil SOB. And to me, I had absolutely no inclination to actually sympathize with his character. However, season 2, I was expecting, how do you come off a season 1 which featured such a terrible villain? How do you outdo David Tennant's Purple Man character? Does Purple Man come back?
Kilgrave. Kilgrave.
Kilgrave.
Yeah, there you
yeah.
go.
Well, I call him the Purple Man because that's
Yeah.
who he is in the comics. He is Kilgrave, yes.
Yeah.
Do they not refer to him as Purple Man?
They refer to him as Kilgrave.
Yeah, it was Kilgrave.
Oh, interesting.
So for those of you who haven't read the comics, such as myself, it is in fact
Yes.
Kilgrave in the
Kilgrave.
show, Purple Man, and
But the purple is kind of like something that
yeah,
the shades, so it's kind of like implied. But in season 2, there isn't like a real clear villain.
I'm not even sure. I mean, the guy that Jessica has her sights on, because I'm towards the end of it. She is now with, going through the motions with who you discover is essentially, spoilers, her mother.
Yep.
The guy that she, up to this point, has been so intent on, he is the bad guy. He is, the monster that did all this. I actually, from a third-person perspective, cannot see any sort of malice in this man. I honestly don't think he intended for the results of what happened to occur, and he has spent the rest of his life trying to fix him. In my eyes, it's more of a heroic deed than anything. But Jessica's got her qualms, and that's why she is who she is.
But even when it comes down to it, I mean, the person who created the monster, her mother, proves to be probably the biggest villain in the series.
Yep.
Right, in this particular season 2. But as you noted, at the end, Jessica can't even deal with her mother effectively because she's obviously compromised by the relationship. And what happens near the end? The mother actually pulls off kind of a heroic deed towards the end, almost like a redemption type of thing. So you're really kind of questioning, like, your whole thought process behind like what should actually be done. You can understand Jessica's conundrum, you know, and then that's when enter Trish. Trish does the, I mean, this is going to be a little spoilery for everybody who hasn't seen it, but I think most people have if you're really inclined to see it. But Trish actually kills Jessica's mother right in front of her,
Wow.
which, so I think really what it comes down to is, you know, who is the enemy, right? Who is the enemy? The person who has the good intentions? I think good intentions are the enemy. That's like the
Yeah.
theme of this particular. Pierce, one of our production people, is holding his ears. He doesn't want to hear this. Sorry. But I believe that this is like literally the season where the road to hell was paved with good intentions. That is the whole
I could agree with that.
theme of this season. And it's, you know, you really walk away from this going, wow, like I can see both sides of every single one of the characters' actions. Totally.
Yep.
I understand Jessica's conundrum. I understand the doctor who basically created them both, both her and her mother. I can understand the mother. The mother is a victim. She's gone mad, you know, but she also has goodness in her, you know. And then you have, you know, Trish, who she means well, you know, like she's trying to help out and she's trying to protect her friend, and she might have lost her friendship over it, you know. And then at the very end, we're kind of left with a little tease, by the way, with Trish's character, where even though she doesn't have the inhaler anymore, she might have some lasting residual
Right.
powers from just the heavy use.
Side effects may include.
Yes. So, but all in all, a very solid season. I don't know if they're planning to do. I mean, I think they would imagine the way they've ended it that they plan to do a Jessica Jones season 3.
Right. Or at least
But-
work it somehow into like a season 2 for Defenders,
Yeah.
if they decide to go that route.
Well, hopefully, if they do a Defenders series, they don't just do 8 episodes like they did
Yeah.
before. I felt a little cheated with the Defenders series, but even though it was really good. So I don't know. We'll see where we go from here, but hopefully you can give season 1 a third try there, Ken, and
You know what I'd like to
and
see
then
them do?
eventually get to season 2.
You know what I would like to see them do, because something that you mentioned earlier, which I had a problem with as well with some of the other Netflix series, is that I felt a lot of the seasons are uneven, and that what they did in like that span of 12 episodes.
Yep.
Could have
13.
been 13 could have been condensed to like probably like like maybe 8, maybe sometimes even like 5 episodes. Like keep it
Okay.
tight. I would like to see, instead of doing like a season of Defenders, have like a season where all these guys have like individual storylines, but then they kind of tie in together, and at the end of the season they get together. So we're not dealing with like 13 episodes of Iron Fist, 13 episodes of Luke Cage, 13 episodes of Jessica Jones. Maybe we only get like 4, 4, and 4, and then at the end they kind of do a get together and team up proper.
Okay. Well, that would be an interesting format. Would you do like alternating episodes, or would you do like a block of like 4 Luke Cage, 4 Iron Fist?
I think it would depend on
Like-
the how the story flows.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think in the beginning you'd have like, all right, here's one episode. This is Jessica's story, and then next episode, here's Iron Fist. Maybe similar story, but from a different point of view.
Right.
It reminds me of a lot of like your idea of a lot of like 90s style movies where they kind of have the 4 separate stories, and then all of a sudden they converge somehow.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
exactly.
like Crash.
would-
Crash is the movie that comes to mind right now, but I believe there was a Tarantino film that did this as well. Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction, yeah.
Pulp Fiction did it.
Just pulling together what seemed to be like kind of disparate storylines, and
Yeah.
then bring them into like some kind of crazy crescendo at the end.
Yep.
I think that way, I feel like a lot of the maybe not a lot, but I feel like there are definitely filler episodes.
Yep.
Right.
And yeah, I can't. For the most part, I can't stand filler episodes. On the rare occasion, you'll get a gem, but for the most part, it's just kind of them going through the motions.
Okay. That's a good point. Fair point. All right. So, what do we want to talk about next? Do we want to talk about what's coming up for Marvel?
Yeah, let's talk about the next Avengers movie.
Avengers Infinity War? Yeah. Well, So
I've been avoiding a lot of the spoilers.
the Russo brothers appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. Mostly because I actually still haven't seen Black Panther yet, so I don't know what even happened there. But on top of all of that,
Even Ken
I
saw
don't-
Black Panther.
I did. However, having seen Black Panther, I don't actually think that's going to affect how you view Avengers: Infinity War. Infinity War. That's what.
Infinity War, yes. Yep.
But yeah, no, I feel like there's just with a huge like mile marker kind of movie like this, like we saw it with Civil War. Actually, we saw it with the first Avengers movie, where it's like they finally like bring everything together. You see a lot of like the best stuff spoiled in the trailers, and then what you get is essentially a movie that is a whole bunch of scenes putting together all the best stuff that you've already seen. And that's what I'm a little bit worried might end up happening. I know there's a lot of people out there that are trying to get as much information on what's going to happen as possible, and too many spoilers can really ruin a good film for you.
It's funny you say that because I think the first couple of trailers that they released for Avengers: Infinity War really didn't give away anything that we didn't already know going in, which I thought was actually, even though you're watching this and you're just like, but you're actually happy because you're like, wow, they didn't blow any big secrets for me, So I'm kind of happy with the way they've kind of handled the trailers so far. They've given us just enough to kind of build a little bit of excitement about it, but I think they've really, for the most part, my impression is that they've saved the real twists and turns for your first viewing of the full movie.
I agree. I mean,
So-
I think there are people that will dissect those trailers, with the fine and just go through every piece frame by frame, and they might be able to glean some bit of information. But just watching the trailers, just like a watch through, I don't think it spoils anything that you didn't already expect.
Right.
Something that you thought was going to happen in the movie, like we see, Cap coming back, we see the Guardians coming into the fold.
Right.
So it's like stuff that we all assumed was going to be brought in into this movie, but it really just showcases the eye candy. I mean, the action sequences that they teased in the trailers were just insane. The sheer amount of, it was pretty busy in Avengers 1 when we saw the whole team assembled for the first time.
Yep.
The cast this time is incredibly huge. There's got to be like 20 different like
Civil War.
it's just an enormous cast of characters, and they're
Yep.
all going to be on the screen at the same time, and it's just going to be chaos. And I think the trailers did a great job of portraying those battles and how everything's just going to be freaking insane.
Exactly. I for one can't wait. I'm glad they moved it up 1 week. It's one less week of torture that we have to go through. But yeah, I think wouldn't it be kind of fun to put a little Deadpool on this one? Sorry, I didn't really mean that. Deathpool. Sorry, Deadpool. I did that for Tyler. Anyway, so who do you have in your death pool?
Technically, it is a Deadpool. That's where he got his name from. So let's be honest.
Yes. Little nod to the old Clint Eastwood movie there. Dirty
But
Harry
yes,
movie.
just so that everyone's understands is that this is going to be, after this movie, Avengers 4 is going to be the last appearance for a lot of the actors that we've grown up with. This is
Yeah.
going to be Chris Evans' last turn as Cap, Robert Downey Jr.'s last turn as Iron Man, supposedly, and Chris Hemsworth is supposed to be his last turn as Thor, I believe, as well.
Yep.
So,
So does that mean some of these characters are meeting their end completely? Or are they just going to go riding off into the sunset? I think all the speculation is that there are going to be some pretty high-profile deaths. And,
Right.
this is going to be a pretty glum story from all intents and purposes here. I think we're going to see something that people are going to be left a little shaken who have invested their emotional, tie into these characters.
I think the character that would have the biggest impact on me would be Captain America, and part of me hopes that he makes it through, but part of me also totally believes that he's not going to make it.
I hope he dies.
You hope he dies?
Yeah. I hate his attitude. That goody bull crap. Sorry, I've never been a fan. He might as well be a DC character to me.
I mean, he was fighting against the establishment in Civil War.
Yeah, how's
Like,
that
he
goody
does- he
goody?
does-
I,
it's-
I get that, and with that, I do agree with him. But it doesn't change the fact that just like his overarching attitude towards everything, I find a little too amoral, and it's annoying to me.
Because he has like a moral compass.
Because it's like an
'Cause he wears
overly-
red, white, and blue?
It's an overly moral compass. It's like even a slight in the wrong direction. He's like, you shouldn't do that. He is like.
He's from a different time,
No,
though.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, yeah, okay. Maybe it's
Yeah,
his man
yeah.
out of time thing.
Yeah, but
Different values.
Yeah. His values are 50 years in the past compared to.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't change the fact that I don't particularly care for it.
Okay, fair enough.
Just saying.
So, I for one hope Thor dies. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. No, my wife won't enjoy that comment. So, no, actually, I don't want to see any of them die. I'm so invested in all these characters, but
But who do you think will die?
that is really the million-dollar question. I do believe that Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr.'s character, will die. I do believe that Captain America's character will die. I think those are probably the two major deaths that we see.
Right, because what we need to see is an ushering in of the new Avengers initiative, the new team of Avengers, and if you still have those core leader roles there, it's always going to fall back to the same group. We need a position for new people to step up and take.
Yeah.
And I think that means
There's one character I know who will not die.
Hawkeye.
Thanos?
Peter Parker's going nowhere.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little that's cheap.
Is that really going out on a limb though? I mean, Sony is not going to really.
for a little while.
Yeah, Sony's got a lot of movies planned with him, I think. So, I don't think we're going to see him go anywhere.
Yeah, I could see. I couldn't see him dying either. And yeah, Iron Man I think he's definitely could be on the block. I think we have some people already kind of potentially that could step up and kind of fill those roles.
Yeah.
In the comics, Rhodey takes up the mantle as Iron Man when Tony Stark starts hitting the bottle a little too hard.
Yep.
And Winter Soldier, Bucky, he takes up the mantle as Captain America when Captain America dies after the first Civil War
Yep.
in the comics.
True.
So we know that the movies borrow from the comics.
Yep.
And even though the timelines don't line up, I mean, I could totally see that being an angle that they play. I mean, you have strong characters that the audience has already developed a connection with. And I honestly wouldn't mind seeing Bucky step up and grab the shield
I'd be okay with that. That's a better.
because he's more roguish.
Yeah.
At the heart of it, he's a no good commie.
And he'll be leading as Captain America. Which is
Just kidding, guys.
I mean, now
iconic of today's United States leadership. And
I-
the connection to the.
I mean, the other possibility is that, and more recently, Sam Wilson has taken up the mantle as Captain America.
That's right.
So,
True.
if they want to push that forward a little bit and pull him in as the next one, he is, obviously Bucky and Captain America have their history, quite literally. But in recent times, that Falcon has been right there next to Captain's side with pretty much everything.
Yep.
Everything that he decides to do, he follows suit, and I think he would be an excellent person to come in and take over that role. He knows how to play it properly. As a character, he could take up that mantle with ease because he knows what would Captain do.
Yeah, another character that we've already established and we have connection
Yeah.
to that could easily step in.
And who hasn't had his own solo film?
Yes.
So,
Good point.
So if we're looking at it from that standpoint, there's probably a lot of stories there you could tell and push that forward. But one that we haven't mentioned yet, because we were talking about natural leaders, especially born in the comics world and bringing it to the screen, is Captain Marvel.
Yes.
and Captain Marvel is quite, in the leadership position in the comic realm. She is basically heading our, intergalactic defense,
Right.
for against invasions of Earth. Alpha Flight. She was one of the leaders of the Civil War II storyline. And back in the first Civil War storyline, again in the comics, she was Tony Stark's right-hand person. So, and we're going to get a solo film coming out. When do we know when that's coming out?
I think they just started shooting it,
Yeah.
so it must be not until next year at least.
Okay, so probably a late 2019 movie, maybe.
But she would fit in. I mean, we're talking about a cosmic story, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we're getting beyond the branches of Earth and with those sparse secondary stories with with New Thor and with Guardians of the Galaxy. That's all coming together now. So
Yeah.
it's a much bigger picture.
the only reason why I think that she might not show up is that they would have to introduce her as a character. They'd have to give her some backstory. In order to do that properly, they'd have to bring in the Kree, and then if you do that, you can't do that without the Skrulls. So that might be an entirely different. Like, there's a lot of.
Yeah.
But they might.
Marvel
tease-
has brought in the Kree already, though,
Did they?
Yes and no.
in
Well,
the
so-
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, okay, interesting.
There is a tie-in there, and there's been a lot of speculation. We don't really know how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is kind of where we think it's going to be at the last season. And we're not quite at the end yet. And, we've got a few more episodes to go, but there's been a lot of speculation that the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show is going to tie into Captain Marvel. And it would make sense because the Kree have been heavily featured
Okay.
in this last season.
And actually-
also in previous seasons mentioned.
It would fit with the pattern because they did something similar with Spider-Man, right? During Civil War, they just introduced him very quickly before they set up kind of the setup to the Homecoming movie.
Yep.
So that would kind of fit in with how Marvel kind of operates.
Yeah. They've got a plan, and they're very good at executing it. At least they've acquitted themselves well in that regard. So I'm excited to see how we can tie in all these properties that they have and see how it builds to this much bigger story.
So another character that I think that we'll be seeing, who almost certainly will appear, whether or not he'll appear in this first movie or if he appears in the second movie, is Adam Warlock.
Oh.
Yes.
Now, we have been teased with Adam Warlock. At the end of Guardians 2, we see the Cocoon.
Yep.
And basically in the comics, that's how they find the Supreme Being. Originally, he's supposed to be this perfect being. He's called Him. And he plays an integral role in the Infinity Gauntlet saga.
Yep.
And also, subsequently, leading after the Infinity Saga, he's tasked with protecting the Infinity Stones. So he's crucial in the Infinity lore. So it's almost implausible to think that he won't show up at some point.
Absolutely. 100% agree with you. I think it's an inevitability to have Adam Warlock weave into the story.
Yes, and I think he'll be tied into the Final Stone because I believe we know where all the stones are except for I believe the Soul Stone.
Which major speculation believes that it's in Heimdall's. Heimdall has it.
The guy from Thor,
Yeah.
the guy that guards the
The
Rainbow
one
Bridge.
that can literally use the power that is what the Soul Stone does.
You mean the gunslinger?
Yeah, the gunslinger. That guy.
Oh, yeah. Idris Elba. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one
Yep.
saw the movie.
I did.
Oh, you saw the Gunslinger?
Dark Tower?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it.
It was fairly poor.
Different talk, different time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Idris Elba deserves better.
Yeah, so there is a lot of speculation that perhaps it is in his eyes because the color of his eyes matches the color of the stone in the flash that you see of the stones when in Guardians 1 where they're talking to the Collector. And also his ability is to literally be able to see every soul in the universe, which is something that the Soul Stone gives you. So there's a little bit of speculation that that's possibly where you're going to be able to find it. There was a lot of people who thought that we were going to see the stone taken from him in Ragnarok as being like the last soul being found, the last gem being found before Infinity War. And then when that didn't happen, people were like, okay, well then maybe it isn't, but we're not sure. So yeah, it still remains to be seen.
The suspense.
we didn't. I thought you were for sure you weren't going to say Adam Warlock, and you were going to talk about Howard the Duck.
Oh, I
Oh
totally.
no, he's gonna be the one that actually beats Thanos.
He already made an appearance at one point, didn't he?
He did.
He showed up in like the
So-
first Guardians movie.
He was.
He was under glass in one of the movies.
Yep. He was.
The Collector.
He
The
was.
second.
Yeah, he was.
I'm
in
sorry,
the-
our producer's
So,
telling us the
he
second.
was
No,
at the
wait,
end
we
of
got
the
some
first one?
we got some dissenting opinions.
He was at the end of the first one. He was in the second one, and he was in. I think he was in Thor Ragnarok as well.
He was. Yeah, he was
'cause
drinking
he
a
was-
cocktail in Thor Ragnarok
yeah, he
and
was on.
bragging about something.
Yeah.
I
I
can't
would
remember what it.
love to see Howard the Duck. Like if he showed up with like the Guardians, I would.
Like Thanos escapes back to his like world, like away from the Avengers, and Howard the Duck is like sitting on his throne. just
Yeah, he's like hanging out, boozing it up, smoking stogs.
hanging out there with Stanley.
I would probably lose my shit in the theater, like right then and there.
Yes. So yeah, lots to look forward to with Avengers: Infinity War, and so anyway, wait, did we have the official who's gonna die? You didn't actually make a pick.
Oh no, I said Captain America. Like,
Captain
episode
America.
one.
Okay.
He's rooting for Captain America. To
So I
die.
got Cap and Tony.
I'll do Captain Iron Man.
Yeah.
I feel like that's too easy. Okay.
Is that
okay,
gonna
I'll
happen
okay,
first
okay,
or
let me do,
second
I'll do
movie,
I'll do a
though?
different one. Okay. So okay. Hawkman. Hawkman.
Hawkman.
Hawkeye. Not
Well, I hope
other
he's
Still
movie.
in DC land
I'm
over
still
here.
I'm still thinking DC. Hawkeye, right?
Yes.
Hawkeye
He's gonna die.
seems
I don't
like
think
the
I
kind of
think he's
character
gonna go away. I don't think he's gonna die.
because Hawkeye I think is like kind of a beloved character. Like people love Hawkeye, but like he's also he's the least powerful of all Avengers, right? He's just a dude that shoots arrows.
I mean,
and
but he's really good.
he's
at it.
really good at that, but like even he makes the crack like, hey, he just shoots trick arrows.
Yeah.
But like I think a death that would really be impactful emotionally to the fans, but not have a huge impact on movies.
Yeah.
Hawkeye makes a lot of sense.
That's true. That's actually a good point.
But
Let's-
I don't know. I feel like he's always there, as like a placeholder whenever they need.
Those are the guys that make the cut, the chopping block, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's the red shirt.
Red shirt, man.
Sure.
Our producer Phil says he's the red shirt. Star Trek reference there for anyone who doesn't know.
Ensign Ricky.
But I mean, he did kind of get the red shirt treatment almost in the first Avengers film when Loki possessed him, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he was like, "Oh, there's Hawkeye. Oh, look, Hawkeye's turning on his team." Right, like right at the beginning of the movie, practically. So, I don't know.
And I felt with like how he showed his family, and they kind of teased that they lay an emotional foundation
I don't
to
know
make
if
a
they're
death
gonna kill
actually
him. I think they're
impactful.
just gonna.
Right.
I think they're gonna take him away. I don't think they're gonna kill him though, because that would be too easy. He's human. He is the most human that is down there. So like, oh wow, he's dead. That's great. It's like trying to kill off Coulson. It's just not gonna happen.
Well, that actually may
He's,
happen.
he's too human.
Didn't
It's-
Coulson-
it's the Titans that you want to kill. Like, I want to see Hulk die. Like that's like, how did that happen? That's impactful. Like that changes the universe if you can kill Hulk.
Killed Bruce Banner.
Yeah. But I want to see the Hulk himself actually get dead.
Get dead.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I don't
But-
see. I can't see the Hulk dying.
No.
Maybe Natasha. Maybe.
No, because she has like there's rumors of her getting a movie, so
Yeah.
like they kind of want to keep her around.
Unless it's a prequel movie.
Oh, possible.
Yeah. I guess,
So
Yeah.
it could be,
They could
like
still-
something that happened
a nice
before her
Riddler
history,
movie.
like an origin story or something.
Yeah.
Still, I don't know
Yeah.
if they'd waste their time doing a movie on a dead character that they can't pump out a sequel for.
That's a good point. So, yeah, Natasha probably survives. Anyway, we'll all find out on was it April 27th?
Yeah, it's only a few weeks away.
So yeah,
Yeah.
So
I wanna see
we're-
Black Panther.
yeah. Well, you got like what, 2.5, 3 weeks to do it? 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Or
Hey,
more.
Hey, you want to go see Black Panther tomorrow? Awesome.
There we go.
Going tomorrow.
So, what else do we got, guys? Anything else that kind of hit your radar? I got something a little offbeat that we haven't ventured down this path in pop culture talk for a little while, but there was a brand new game that came out within the past couple weeks. Star Wars Legion. and I think you have some very intimate experience with it.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I
Don't
mean,
you?
it's all right. I've only played it like every opportunity that I've gotten. Yeah, for if you're the type of person that likes a fun tabletop miniatures game with like terrain and all, it's definitely my new favorite game. It is very reminiscent of like a 40K style game, while at the same time carrying the kind of different way that a lot of the Star Wars games does dice. It doesn't stick to like your standard D6 style. You know, you get this many dice to roll, and you know, instead it uses a D8 with symbols, which you see in many other of the Star Wars specifically related games. But it's very well balanced. Right now, you have a Sith faction and a Rebels faction. They run on a point-based system for how you want to integrate, you know, different squads and upgrade them. And then, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a 6-round game. Usually only takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And yeah, if you enjoy Star Wars in general and you like miniatures games, it's a definite must.
You guys do the game night here with Star Wars Legion?
We're going to be doing what is it, the fourth Monday night of each month?
Yes. So we do league nights here now across the street. We have a partner site, and so yeah, Star Wars miniature games of all kinds. We're going to be doing Imperial Assault, so some of the classics here: Imperial Assault, X-wing, maybe even some Armada, but definitely a focus on Legion, since that's the latest and greatest, and that is going to be the fourth Monday of every month.
Yep, and I will be there.
Get your game on.
Yep.
Actually, I was reminded, for those of you who grow up as a young lad back in the early 2000s like myself, and was disappointed by the fact that the Teen Titans TV series cut off at the end of the 5th season with absolutely no resolution to the ongoing arc, it is rumored that they are finally going to release a 6th and final season, concluding the entirety of that last arc, and I couldn't be more excited. It's like it's getting an ending to something that I never thought I would see, and you know, this is something that I grew up on.
Yeah.
As far as like an animated show goes, it's right there on par with the other animated series that DC puts out. You know, if you're a huge fan of like the Batman Beyond series, the original Batman series, animated series, any of those that DC does much better than the comics, in my opinion. It's a must watch if you haven't seen it. If you are a Teen Titans animated series fan like myself, who grew up with it, if this is true and they really are going to be coming out with this last season, it is very, very long anticipated. So I'm pretty excited.
What are the rumors you're hearing? Like, what are they based on?
So they put out. There was a couple of releases online through various sources that suggested that the I can't even remember who the animation group was that did it. Because
Got me, I never
was a
watched it.
kid. There was a couple of releases that suggested that they were finally going to drop it after, you know, there was so much request for it, especially after the Teen Titans Go series came out, and there was so much backlash from like the original fan group that said, oh, you know, you won't finish, you know, the series that you started over here, but you'll remake it for kids here, like. And then you even see a few throwback episodes in the Teen Titan Go series where they basically, you know, they get to see into parallel universes, and they realize that, you know, there's this other parallel universe where the Teen
It's
Titans
like a callback to the
animated
original series.
exists, and they're like, oh man, like that, you know, we are so cool in this world, and they pay homage there,
Nice.
and so there are some rumors floating around online. There has been a couple of pages shared that suggest that they are talking about dropping the 6th and final season. This came out prior to, this was about a week before April 1st, so I'm
So you're confident it wasn't a joke.
That I saw it.
Okay.
So I'm fairly certain that this wasn't just an April Fool's joke. If it is, I hope they all burn in hell. Sorry, no, I don't. Just that their houses burn down. I mean, it's like sticking a spike through my heart. There's so little DC that I ask for. Just give me this.
Where is this going to air?
The original series aired on Cartoon Network.
Mm-hmm.
So my guess is they would, if they decide to stick to that route. I honestly don't know who owns licenses to any of that right now. So
I'd imagine if Teen Titan Goes is still on Cartoon
Yeah,
Network,
yeah,
they must still have the rights to it.
I imagine probably so.
Okay.
I'm getting some feed in my little earbud here saying that Adult Swim might be the place where you can catch it, which I'm not really sure why, because it wasn't really an adult show. It was definitely an older kid show. Like, I wouldn't watch this with like my 6-year-old brother, but if you're a teen. But yeah, so that's
Okay.
So that's something I'm pretty excited for.
Interesting.
I know I don't normally get excited for DC related topics, but
No, what?
even if they brought back Static Shock, I would just die.
Yeah, me too.
The best.
So how about you, Ken? Anything on your radar?
No, I got nothing.
You got nothing?
I got nothing.
Yeah, I'm kind of out too.
I'm
so,
WrestleMania's this weekend.
Oh,
And,
WrestleMania. I wish, I really wish, first of all, Wayne were here tonight so he could have heard your news about this Teen
Right.
Titans thing. Because I think
Right.
he
See,
probably,
he loves animated series.
yeah, he would be really into that. And then Rob is really our resident wrestling guy, loves the WWE and will be watching WrestleMania. So, he would be really happy that you even called it out right now.
I haven't seen WrestleMania in probably like a decade, but like for whatever reason, my younger brother got a subscription to the WWE channel, and he's getting WrestleMania for free. So I said, "What the heck?"
Wait, they have a channel now?
Dude, you've never heard of the WWE channel?
I
You
guess
just
not.
got all like the back catalog. You can watch all the classic matches. It's like free streaming. It's all available on demand.
I mean,
I sat and
people
watched
just hand their
WWE
wallets over to
for,
Vince
like,
McMahon.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
The guy knows what he's doing.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. He's the real $1 million man.
Yeah.
I think. So, yeah, I'm old, I know. But, yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, if you're going to be watching it, Rob's going to be watching it, maybe we'll talk about it on the next video.
Yeah, someone can school me about who these wrestlers are. I'm assuming I heard like Triple H is still wrestling, and like The Rock might make an appearance. Undertaker. So there's gonna be a lot of classic stuff.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan?
Oh man.
Oh!
Is he still?
No? All right.
Is he still alive?
I don't know, but I have a 2x4 in my garage. I could come out and whack somebody with it. Just have to grow up my beard a bit.
I'm gonna be waiting for your appearance.
I've always wanted to, I always joke around with the hockey team about, wouldn't it be great for like a player who used to play on our team and is now playing for another team, that we do a heel turn. Like we just bring some kind of like, wrestling element into our hockey league.
I love it.
Like comes out and hits the opposing goalie while the play's down the other end with the steel chair. Pan back as they rush the puck down and the goalie's out cold.
It was
and we
like,
score into the empty net.
what's going on? The ref's like, I didn't see
what
nothing.
happened? There's nothing there. Well, you're right, it is. Hockey and wrestling are very close kinship there. So, anyway, but with that, I digress. So thank you so much for watching our Pop Culture Talk episode, and hopefully next time around we'll have our returning friends, Wayne and Rob, with us. And anyway, we hope you all have a great month ahead. Thank you.